The Walt Disney Company has a huge problem on their hands, fresh from Lucasfilm. A galaxy far, far away simply is not bringing in fans anymore to the box office. Today we'll tell you why Mandalorian and Grogu is likely to be, almost certainly now, the worst box office performer in the history of all Star Wars films. And it's about to be ripped from the theaters. Make way, ladies and gentlemen, not for Prince Ali, but for Toy Story 5. Dive, Mando, dive. Disney doesn't want you in cinemas anymore, and that means this box office is done. It's toast. Stick a fork in it. It is at most going to make, 10, 20 million more. We'll tell you why. That's ugly. That's bad. Click the like button. And here we go again, making Lucasfilm sad. It's not a great day to be Star Wars. It's not a great time to be at Lucasfilm. But folks, it's a great day for us to cover the news. What's that, Nick?
I said, is it ever, though?
Not in years and years and years, Nick. All right, that Park Place says this. Marvin Montanero, The Mandalorian and Grogu will likely become the biggest box office flop in Star Wars franchise history. And I'm just going to go ahead and jump to spoilers. This is before we adjust for inflation. Disney and Lucasfilm's The Mandalorian and Grogu continued its downward spiral at the box office this weekend, and the latest numbers suggest the film is now heading towards a major record for the franchise. After another rough weekend, the film managed just $4.7 million domestically, a 52.8% drop from the previous frame. Its domestic total now stands at roughly 165. It's not going to get 200 now. I mean, unless Disney wants to just leave it in there to limp along until September. This thing's done. 200's gone. It says, while worldwide earnings have reached only 315. Just as concerning for Lucasfilm is the speed at which theaters are dropping from the film. And this is, folks, this is what you got to know, okay? This is the big one. After losing 945 locations the previous week, The Mandalorian and Grogu was removed from another 675 theaters this past weekend. Toy Story's coming. And this is basically over now. In the span of 2 weeks, the movie has lost more than 1,600 screens across North America. But Nick, you cover Star Wars. Your entire channel is devoted to this.
Yeah.
Nick, this thing's getting kicked out of the theaters this next weekend with Toy Story. And so when we see that it's made it to 315 on the global, the worldwide box office tally, it's going to be very difficult to move that anywhere north because all the screens are gone now. So what do you think, Nick? What's your prediction for where Mando goes now?
In the trash where it belongs. I mean, this was probably one of the dumbest moves on Lucasfilm's part. You haven't released a movie. The Rise of Skywalker came out in 2019, I believe, and you haven't released a movie in theaters since then. And then this is your first Star Wars movie back in theaters after the disastrous season 3 of Mando. I just wish I could be a fly on the wall in the room on the decision making going on over there. It just doesn't make any sense to me. This is what you guys planned on doing, and this is what the story that you came up with. I mean, I went and saw it, and at the end of the day, I didn't hate it. I wasn't like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. But literally, I'm never gonna watch it again. You can
that's good.
skip it.
Lauren, you have defended it a little bit more than most. Are you going to ever watch it again? Or are you done with it?
I will, but I'm a Mandalorian fan. I did not like season 3. Season 3 left me pretty down in the mouth, but this movie did what I needed it to do to put him back in the center as a bounty hunter. I enjoyed the movie for what it was, but I've said before, I think their mistake was releasing it theatrically. It should have been either a TV special on Disney Plus, or they should have just done season 4, which I think would have been the smartest thing that they could have done.
I agree.
All right, let's look at how this works, folks. We're going to get into the weeds of Hollywood for just a minute. I'm going to show you what's going on. Out of the numbers, Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu currently sits at 315 on the worldwide box office, as we told you. Now, I have said before that I think it's going to 330. Lauren, you actually thought it was going to end up at 315, 320, so it's probably going to pass that a little bit.
311 was the top end that I said, and so it has crossed that. I am surprised that it did, but I think they're going to let it run another week, and then I think they're going to pull it. I think they're only going to let it run a month.
I think you might be right, and here's why. All right, so essentially, folks, I mean, it had a liftoff. if we look at this for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 days, this movie has flatlined. I mean, we're seeing just incremental growth. And here's what you need to see, the theaters, okay? So if we go to per theater, we're looking at the theater numbers, okay? So this film sat at 4,300 theaters for about 2 weeks. And the reason is probably contractual. So Disney had a deal with AMC and Regal and all the rest that they were forced to keep this thing on. As soon as they could drop it, they all dropped it to 3,355 theaters. And then as soon as they could drop that, now they're down to 2,680. Now, it's no longer in Disney's interest to have this in the theaters because every theater that The Mandalorian and Grogu is in, going into, what is it, going to be the fourth weekend? Every screen that it's on in the fourth weekend is a screen that Toy Story could have. And so it's not in the favor of the distributor Disney. It's not in the favor of the theaters. I mean, the theaters sitting and look at, if you're making $268 per theater, I mean, you're not paying for the wear and tear on the bulb on the projector. So they're happy to kick this thing out. Disney now is going to say, yeah, there's really no reason to leave it in there. I think it's actually embarrassing. And so I think this is going to have 1,000 theaters left, 800 theaters. And like a whimper, man, it's gone. It's out of there. Wiz, it's a bad sign for Mando, but this is the end. It doesn't get a fourth weekend with any kind of significant release. The fourth weekend is going to be extremely muted. And anybody who thinks, well, we can get to 400, I think they're deeply mistaken at this point.
Oh no, I'm shocked to see it went past the 310 mark that Lauren had originally predicted. I was with him. I really thought it was going to have trouble getting to 310. This is done. Put it to bed. It's Toy Story time. The reviews for Toy Story, the early reviews are that, Pixar's back. We're back to form, return to form, which means that Mando needs to go away and get those theaters open and get all of those showtimes back for Toy Story 5. And you know what? We talk about it because it's worth talking about. When it comes to Mandalorian and Grogu, it's worth it for us to talk about because it's an accountability thing. We're holding Star Wars accountable, we're holding Lucasfilm accountable, Disney accountable. So it's important to us. But you know who it's not important for? Everyone else. And especially the normies. Like, everyone's over this, but they're not only just this or this issue. Star Wars. They're done with Star Wars. Star Wars is so over, it's never coming back. There's something that Nick said earlier, like I just want to continue off of. The idea of you never watching this again. It's like, hey, it's another Star Wars movie you'll never watch again. How many of these can they keep making? They can't. They can't afford to do it. The only one that was even remotely worth watching again was Rogue One, like on its own. Like Rogue One was worth watching on its own. And then the Andor series did this really good setup and continuation into Rogue One that you felt compelled to watch Rogue One again. But otherwise, no, I don't think that Mando is in any place. I think it's done. It's cooked. It's a cooked goose. Get it out of the oven. It's time to go.
So I'm not done with the goose, but Lauren, I see you want to weigh in, hop in, and then I want to show a stat that I think is shocking.
I just want to say that despite my predictions, I do have it on good authority that $2 billion is absolutely in play.
All right. Here's
the finger guns in there, Lauren.
Yeah, 2 billion pesos, maybe.
Here's the goose, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so this movie opened, you all know, it was a terrible opening. 81 million, and they came in later and they tried to spin the narrative because they were hoping they could save the second weekend. So they said, it opened bigger than expected. Sure it did. Okay, so we talked about Star Wars films get a 2.5 to 2.75 leg out. Now, with a terrible opening, the leg out should be bigger because you don't have to earn that much for it to have, greater legs on the movie. The legs on this, remember, 2.5 to 2.75. The legs on this currently are 2.02. This may get to 2.15, 2.2, which is awful. So from an awful weekend, this film, it's taken it 3 weeks to match the first 3 days. Let me say it again for those who don't understand the flat line we're talking about. 3 weeks to match the first 3 days of the box office. Everybody that cared went to go see it, and then all of the oxygen fell out of this film. And that is why I think it's worse than the box office is the fact that it was over. It was over after the first weekend. It was over. And that means the core fans, whatever the Disney Star Wars group, the Raylos, there are not many of them, clearly. But once they're gone, it's gone. There's no more. Yeah. That's the stat to see. That's the stat to see. And it's a sad state for Star Wars. Guys, any other thoughts on the Mandalorian and Grogu, and specifically on the defense that we're starting to hear a few make? But I don't know. I think Disney's going to tell them. I think somebody at Disney's going to say, "Shut up! It's a failure. Shut up, you! Shut up, you! We're going to take this one."
I actually don't. I don't know. I might challenge that just a little bit, because Disney likes when they have the defenders out there defending this thing. The diehards that they're never going to let it die. But even they have been like kind of caught deer in the headlights on this one of like, oh my gosh, it's collapsing. What do we do? What are we supposed to say? What do we do? And then how they've been pivoting the conversation, whether it be the shills or the journalists or whoever it is, people, maybe it's just diehard Star Wars fans, all 12 of you. God bless you out there. Yeah. But they're pivoting this in whatever way that they possibly can of, oh, well, it was never about making money in the movies. It's about the marketing. It's about the toys. No, money in, money out. This was money into it, invested into the movie. It was meant to be a box office return. And, even what you're showing here, is this because of Mandalorian? Are people going and filling the parks because of Mandalorian and Grogu? I don't think so.
Hold on. Let me tell you about that, Wiz, before we go. So with Marvin, I went to Galaxy's Edge at Walt Disney World. And in the last few days, it was a walk-on for the Millennium Falcon. It was a walk-on. At like 5:00. Marvin went to Oga's Cantina, which is supposed to be this, it's a bar and you're supposed to pay a lot of money to get the drinks, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
blah.
it's expensive.
Yeah. Marvin walks up to the guy and says, "Hey, are you guys taking, is it reservation only? Or are you guys taking walk-ups?" And the guy was like, "Oh, we're taking walk-ups." like, please come in.
Really?
We will pay. Oh, Wiz. Yes.
Wow.
And it wasn't just that it was walk-ups. It was, you put your name in and they said, "All right, come on in." Like, no wait, just come on in. We're ready to go. Yeah.
I remember when getting a reservation into Oga's was like Oga's Canteen. It was like a sacred thing. It was hard to do. Now you can just walk in.
Wow. And that's why this is a franchise. There are some franchises that Disney can just let die, right? John Carter, who cares? Zorro, who cares? This is not a franchise they can let die because it sits on some of the most premium real estate they have in Disneyland and Walt Disney World. I don't think they can let it die. I think they have to do something. I just don't know that they know what to do, but I got a feeling the C-suite's going to say, "Filoni, you fix it or you're fired. We don't care how you do it. Just, you got to get butts in seats. You got to get, butts in front of screens, and you got to get people excited to go to the parks, because if not, man, what a huge waste for them. It's actually impacting their park operations at this point."
Yeah. My prediction is Filoni won't be there in 4 years because he's going to continue the KK reign. I have zero faith in Dave Filoni to fix anything with Star Wars. There's like zero. And it's going to come to a point where they're like, nothing's changing. You're not doing anything to help this situation. And he's going to be out of there. Like, I don't know anything about running movie studios or anything like that. I could go in there and do a better job than Filoni's going to do. And I don't know anything about running any of that. But I mean, they would literally need to, day one, decanonize everything, come out and admit your failures, own it, say, "Look, we screwed this up. We screwed the pooch on this. And we're decanonizing it." And this is never going to happen, ever. But if they did do that, maybe there might be some people that would give it another chance. But keep going down this road. We got Starfighter coming out next year, which is just continuing the sequel trilogy timeline events. Like, it's going to bomb also. I don't see that movie making anything. Star Wars is in a disastrous place, absolutely disastrous.
At this point, I think I'd throw Rian Johnson at least under the bus if I'm Disney. I would put something out.
Yeah. Throw everybody under the bus for all I care. Just
throw Pedro under. I know you got to wait till the Avengers movie's done, but throw him under the bus. Like, it's time. Let the skeletons lie, man, and get away from this. I'll give you one last example. So we're at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, right? And of course, you got the giant docking bay, and somebody says, "What is that? What was that?" And I said, "Well, that's where a box truck used to come to deliver you from the Galactic Star Cruiser." And as we're passing that, there's the blue milk stand on the right, and they've added now pink milk because, well, that's folks, go look that up. Just know they named it pink milk at Star Wars Land, and it's disgusting. But they've got blue, and I guess they retired the green milk, which tasted like watered down Fruity Pebbles. Okay, so when you go to Harry Potter World at Epic Universe or Islands of Adventure or wherever, when you go to Harry Potter World, you're right, there's butterbeer stands everywhere. You can't make enough butterbeer. People are laying down on the pavement saying, just take it from the spigot and put it in my mouth. You got people paying whatever they can to get a hold of this stuff. 4, 5, 6 different varieties of butterbeer. We walked by the blue milk stand at Star Wars. All this money, millions of dollars put into developing blue milk and the blue milk kiosk. Not a single person in line to get the blue milk. I see one person who's had it and is drinking it to the side. And I thought, yeah, you're going to regret that. And I feel like it's an allegory for all of Star Wars at this point. Yeah, you're going to regret that. You're going to regret it. All right, folks, that's where we'll leave it for now. But Mando is going to be, even adjusted for inflation, even not adjusted for inflation, the worst performing Star Wars movie ever. And it's going to get ripped out of screens this weekend. It's over. It's over. It may limp. It may dribble. It may just barely make little ripples. The box office numbers for Mando are now basically done. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out the video today. It's such a pleasure every time we get to endeavor together, explaining entertainment and keeping you ahead of the culture curve. If you would be so kind, folks, swerve on down to that like button wherever you may find it and click it, please. It helps us. And you are the gigawatts that send us far and wide across the fruited plains of YouTube. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.